So if you came across this video, you probably typed in the words, how to deal with haters, or something to that extent. I want to challenge you to quite possibly think about haters a little bit differently than you have in the past. You see, just because someone has bad intentions, it doesn't mean that they're bad for us. I say that because I believe that God can use bad intentions and the circumstances surrounding it to make us better. And that's what this series of videos is about. How haters help.
Look at you. You're black, you're poor, you're ugly, you're a woman, you're nothing at all.
Till you do right by me, everything you even think about gonna fail.
So this is going to be a 4-part series, and each video is going to have a study guide attached to it. The link will be in the description. Everybody doesn't know this. Success and haters go hand in hand. Nobody who's made any significant impact in our world has done so without haters telling them that they'll never be able to do it. No matter what you set out to do, somebody's going to have a problem with it. Which says to me, if you don't have haters, you're probably doing something wrong. But I don't believe that haters should necessarily be dealt with as much as we should take the situation that haters create and see how they can make us even better. One of the most powerful and triumphant stories that I've ever heard was about a young man who overcame impossible odds. He went from being sold into slavery by his own family members to one of the most powerful people in the world. This young man was hated and despised simply because he was gifted. His own brothers hated him so much that they wanted to kill him. And if you're familiar with the Bible, you may realize that this is the biblical story of Joseph. It's found in the 37th through the 50th chapter of the book of Genesis. And as Joseph's story continues to unfold, it only gets worse. He was sold into slavery, wrongfully accused of an attempted rape, and then landed in prison. And look, I can only imagine how hard it must have been on him. And the part of Joseph's story that I haven't shared yet, prior to him being sold into slavery, he thought God was going to use him to do something great. What a tragic turn of events, right? I mean, to go from God is going to do something great in your life to the captivity that he experienced for 13 years. Speaking from my own experiences, I would have wallowed in self-pity, asking God, why me? Perhaps even praying the prayers of the psalmist. Oh Lord, why do you stand so far away? Why do you hide when I am in trouble? Have you ever found yourself praying those words? Or perhaps something similar? Maybe your prayers weren't as poetic as the psalmist, but you would pray something like, God, please help me shake these haters off. The term hater is used quite often in our culture, and I'm sure Joseph could have identified with some of us who have people just hate on us for no apparent reason. Now listen, I do believe that some of us are overly sensitive, and we categorize people as haters prematurely. But that's another thought for another time. Who I want to address today is those of us who have legitimate haters, and I want to highlight how God can use our haters to help us. My prayer is by the time we finish these devotionals entitled How Haters Help, you will be able to embrace the haters in your life as a way to draw closer to God. Fast forwarding Joseph's story, when he had the opportunity to put haters in their place after he had rose to a position of power, he chose not to. He would rather have looked at what they did to him from God's perspective, not his own. And if we read Genesis chapter 50, verses 17 to 21, this is what it says. Say to Joseph, please forgive the transgressions of your brothers and their sin, because they did evil to you. And now please forgive the transgressions of the servants of the God of your father. Joseph wept when they spoke to him. His brothers also came and fell down before him and said, behold, we are your servants. But Joseph said to them, do not fear, for I am in the place of God. As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive as they are today. So do not fear, I will provide for you and your little ones. Thus he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. One of the things that we often say about God are his ways are mysterious, but guess what? They're always right. And at times it might be appearing that he's turning his back on you or not listening to your cries. But you can rest assured that in those dark times, God doesn't do anything without purpose. What he is purposed to do is to mature your faith and transform us into men and women who live like Christ. As Chuck Swindoll says, he is more concerned with our character than our comfort. We must learn that character is built when we go through our dark times. See, anybody can curse and yell when haters do what they do. Haven't you heard? Haters gonna hate.
I promise you, till you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna crumble. Trade places with what I've been.
A person who has had their character developed can find peace and wisdom in the midst of the chaos around them. Listen, haters ultimately help us. And don't forget, the links are in the description. And if it's your first time here, consider liking, commenting, subscribing so that you can see the other videos in this series. Don't forget to know God, love others, and show it. Peace.